So, good evening, viewers, and welcome to the FPRL Tier 3 Belgian Grand Prix around Spa-Francorchamps. A track which really does separate the good drivers from the great drivers. 20 corners around this 7 km clockwise circuit, 11 turns to the right and 9 to the left, including legendary corners such as the Bush-Top Chicane, Blanchimont and Eau Rouge, which is that dangerous. We may never see it in this configuration again. The standings of Tier 3 haven't changed too much in the past few weeks. Snedden 69 still leads the standings despite missing last week's Hungarian Grand Prix. No matter what happens here, he'll still be leading at the end of this race. Behind him, his teammate Tadas has moved into second place, with Locker dropping to third in the standings. Can he do anything today to become the main championship challenger once again this week before we go into the final 8 rounds of the season? In the constructors, it's now Williams that have moved into second place, but a whopping 100 points behind the Alfa Romeo pairing. Something Alfa Romeo have got one hand on the trophy already, and it's hard to argue given the big gap they have right now, but there is still plenty of points at stake towards the end of season 3. Last week's race winner, Adrian, or Adrain, as some have labelled him, given his poor performances in wet conditions so far this season, is on the grid this evening. TJ, good evening to you. What can we expect from this race? Are you expecting another inconsistent performance from Adrian? And who do you think in the field so far has the edge for this particular race?
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening, shall I say, sorry, Biddle. So I think we have seen the inconsistency of Adrian in the past couple of races, as you've rightly said, that he has been nicknamed Adrain. We know he isn't very good in the rain, but when it's a dry track, he has been very consistent, and he showed that last week in Hungary as well. So definitely watch out for Adrian this week if it does stay dry. For other drivers in the field, obviously we've got our championship leader back, Snedden. Don't rule out Nigel Piggle as well. I think he's fourth or fifth in the standings, driver championship currently. As we have got a retiree currently. I just need to get the track up. Apologies.
It's Nedder.
Rouge. Claimed our first victim already.
He's done Orlando Norris in the dry there. So that's not gone too well for Nedder, new to the league, and standing in once again, I believe, as a reserve driver, if I'm not wrong, in that Williams, and it's not gone well. It's Alpine. It's not gone too well for them so far. Out in the early part of qualifying is Diamond, then sets the first lap at 1:44.5. Adrian will definitely be buoyed at the moment by the fact that it is dry as it stands. Obviously, we don't know the weather conditions. Only 4.5 minutes gone of this session, TJ. We know it's such a long lap, so you can obviously get a reduced amount of laps in. But do you think we're going to see some rain? I mean, the clouds look a little bit gloomy overhead, but it's hard to tell from in the commentary box.
Yeah, as you rightly say, it does look a bit gloomy. I have just seen a shot on Diamonds on board where it does look like there's blue skies coming across, but Spa's very famous for its rain, so it wouldn't surprise me if we did see rain at some point.
Of course, the real world race cancelled because of the poor conditions last year. Believe it or not, I was there a couple of years back, and it was absolutely scorching weather, 35 degrees, something like that. So it really is hit or miss at this circuit. Got a few times on the board now. Adrian already 1.3 seconds ahead of Diamond in second place, who've got that early time on the board. As I was saying, TJ, it's such a long lap, this one. Obviously, it gives you less of an opportunity to get some clean laps in. Do you think we're going to see some drivers struggle with added laps today, getting them in on the board?
Yeah, I think so. I think track limits are okay around here, not as bad as on other tracks, but as you come into sector 2 is probably the real tricky part here, as you mentioned at the beginning of the stream, that this does really show the excellent drivers to the good drivers. With sector 2, it's such a technical sector on the track. And as we know, as you arrive at Puan, you drop a wheel on that curb and you're sent flying.
Got another driver backwards out of Rouge. Magsy, who's carried on his way, has invalidated his lap. However, whether he was going around again or not, of course, an ERS hungry circuit, so don't expect to see any of the drivers doing 2 push laps in a row unless they abandon their opening effort. They'll struggle to get a decent timing if they go about it that way. And we have got a full grid. TS9 joining us a little bit later on in the session, but we'll get out to put a couple of laps in to try and get through to Q2 then.
Yeah, one thing that surprised me is, we've been mentioning how long this track is, but there's a lot of traffic at Sector 3 currently. I'm not quite sure what the drivers are doing. I don't know whether they're a bit of desync from each other, from perhaps trying to set laps to people who have set a lap, but there was a few drivers bunched together then.
Yeah, very easy to get out of sync. I think we caught, it was a Haas coming through on Aston Martins, I think it was at the time, getting out of the way very late on, but as you said, yeah, bunched up at the last corner. It's a popular place for drivers to try and get a bit of a gap ahead of them on track. Clear air, because of course, might gain with a bit of a tow, but you'll lose an awful lot of time through the second sector as William gets out of his second flying lap and allows the McLaren to go past him. So 13 drivers with the time on the board at the moment. Panic End and Skivid will definitely be looking to improve on those times, not representative at all at the moment. And I think Tadas needs an invite to the session.
Yeah, I've already dropped him an invite.
Possible. Right, of course, I didn't doubt it. Didn't doubt it, of course. Eagle-eyed there. Let's see if we can get him back in with a lap on the board. We want a full grid, of course, and Alfa Romeo want both their drivers out there, of course, as I said, leading the championship at the moment by over 100 points nearly. And I mean, surely, TJ, I said at the start of the stream, surely now that constructors title, that is pretty much theirs.
Yeah, for certain.
As we've got, I'm not good. We were on board with him at the time for the McLaren team. Third in the constructors at the moment. But one of their drivers now out in Q1. Got a little bit hot on the exit there of Stablo and put it on the inside wall. And he's ended up on the other side of the circuit actually, but he is out of the session.
Yeah, that's a shame from I'm not good. He has been showing a lot of consistency recently. So to be going out in Q1, it'll be very disappointed with. But he's definitely got the pace to come back during the race. So I imagine we'll see him fighting through the field and perhaps finishing in the top 10.
Yeah, he has shown that he can fight from the back before. He's going to need to not live up to his name there, though, in the race. He's done it in qualifying. But as the sun comes out, track temperatures will inevitably get higher. All but 2 drivers now in the pits. 3 drivers, I should say, force majeure on a push lap, it would seem. Do you think everyone's just kind of waiting to the second runs here, or do you think we will see a bit of track evolution at this stage?
I think our sun's come out and maybe track temperature will start going up slightly. I think the drivers will be tempted to go back out. Obviously, we've got 5 drivers that haven't set times. I'll call it 4. It says 5 officially, but obviously Ned Air won't be setting a time. And yeah, it's going to be close. Obviously, we've seen Skivvy retire on 156.9. So he's definitely going to be out of his qualifying session. And if I had to put a time on it, I think around Soprano Legends and 145 flat is probably a safe place to be currently.
Yeah, well, we've lost Nedo, as you said. I'm not good, crashing out as well. Skivvid 2 retiring in the pits, it would seem. From that 156, we say it every week, it's what he likes to do almost. You do see him kind of retire early on in qualifying sessions, saving himself for the race. And it's likely then we'll already know the 3 drivers we're losing, provided there is some times put on the board. by the ones not to have set a time as it stands. So we'll only lose 2 further drivers from the session, and as TJ says, at 1:45.0, I think I'll agree with that. That's not too out there in terms of what the drivers will need in order to make it through then. Some of the surprising drivers that haven't set a time yet. I know Snedden hasn't been out on track, but Locker has been out on track, and he's invalidated once again on a push lap, TJ.
Yeah, he'll be very disappointed with that, but I do feel Locker's been under a bit of pressure recently. You know, he was up in P2, as you mentioned, at the beginning of the stream, but he hasn't had the race results recently, and perhaps that's just knocked his confidence slightly. But yeah, I think he just needs to concentrate, keep his head down, and we'll see. He'll definitely get through to a Q2 with the pace he's got, if he can set a valid lap.
Yeah, have dropped slightly in the constructors, as I mentioned. McLaren, that perhaps coincides with a dip in form for FPRO Locker, and needs to find a lap here, otherwise he won't get through in qualifying either. Diamond now on a fast lap as well in 7th place. We think he's safe with that 44.5 as things stand, but there's no harm in getting a bit of practice in and trying to better that time by the end of the session. If I'm not wrong, TJ, I think both McLaren drivers have got 1 win each this season.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so we have seen them on the top step. They have shown they've got the pace, but yeah, as you mentioned, they have dropped off ever so slightly in the past couple of races, and perhaps just need to get their heads down now and bring some good points home for the McLaren team.
Yeah. So William has retired from the session in the pit lane as well from A for the 44.6, and he also thinks that he's safe with that time. His teammate Magsy in 4th place. Williams looking a strong pairing. They have done the past few weeks. They have done all season, really. Found a bit more pace between them with the upturn in form of Willy Bum, really now able to match the pace of his teammate. But I don't think we've seen either of them win a race, and yet they are the team that are second in the constructors at the moment. Is that just down to, you know, Seddon's won so many races so far, and Tadas as well, I think, chipped in with the race win as well. The Alfa Romeo dominance has been absolutely incredible in Tier 3, really.
Yeah, it has. As you're saying, that no one's been able to touch him. As you mentioned, Snedden has won a couple of races, and as you mentioned, I think Tadas has won 1. But between them, they're pretty much in the top 5 pretty much every race when they do race. And even when one of them misses a race, a reserve comes in, and it's like we haven't missed a driver, because they'll do that good and match what the other driver should have got in a race. But yeah, for the Williams drivers, yeah, they have got really consistent in the past couple of races. I think we've mentioned Williams quite a bit recently that at the start of the season he perhaps wasn't too confident in his racing, but over the past 5-6 races we've seen him come out his shell, and he's been so consistent in that top 10.
Has indeed. Obviously that contributing to his team's good form as well at the moment, as Diamond has just dropped the car coming through Puan, your favourite corner, TJ. David Lowface with a very good time then, matching his teammate with a 1:44.4, puts himself in 7th place then on 3 lap old softs. Oh no, 1 lap old softs, I've read the wrong line. Let's put my glasses on there, but he has managed to match the pace of his teammate, and he'll be very impressed with that, and that should see him through then to Q2. One driver that does need to get a time on the board, Tadas, has invalidated once again, so he hasn't set a time just yet. TS9 on an out lap as well. The 2 drivers in the bottom 5 that can do something about their progress in this qualifying session. You would expect Tadas to get a time in here, but obviously his session's been hampered by connectivity issues, but surely he's just got to think about putting a safe lap in now to get the time through to Q2.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even if played it safe, I can see Tadas beating a 1:46 at the Panic End set. You know, if you're setting a low 1:45s, you're pretty safe here. So, yeah, perhaps you just need to take it pretty easy going through a Rouge, and I imagine that's why he's invalidating his lap. You know, just left off a little bit, go through the corners, and then just take the rest of the lap as he normally would.
TS9, I think, has crashed at Eau Rouge then. We'll see if one of this Alpha Tauri that's coming past will give us a good view of how he's just managed that. Has he copied the DNF from Neda early on? He has indeed. So TS9 then also out in Q1. So the participation of Force Manure as it stands in Q2 depends on whether Tadas can get a valid time in, and it has to be better than a 1:45.8, which you would expect he should be able to do, providing it is valid though. As we've mentioned, he has been out on track a couple of laps now and struggled with keeping the lap clean.
Yeah, he's keeping it nice and clean now. Perhaps he has just realised he just needs set, not a fantastic lap, just a bit of a banker lap for himself, and he is pretty much through. He can set to really nicely here. Needs keeps off the curb as he enters P1 here, which he does. Takes the corner really nice. Keeps it within track limits. That's a fantastic example of how you take that corner there. Very close to hitting Aston Martin there. I don't know what the Aston Martin was doing. But very good reactions from Tadas as he continues round, still very nice and clean. Going into sector 3, he hasn't set a time, but it's 1:16.029. And it's just pretty much keep your foot down now with 2 or 3 corners left to tackle. Keeps it nice and clean through here, and as he approaches the final 2 corners, hits the curb nicely, avoids the second curb, puts his foot down to the accelerator with DRS open, and sets a 1:44.6, which is safe enough for him.
Yep, gets him through into Q2 there. Tadas with a 1:44.6, as you mentioned. The lap to me seemed a little bit cagey, I think to be expected given the fact he only really had to put a semi-competitive time on the board to make it through, and he does get through in 12th, much to his relief after his early issues in the session. So we have our bottom 5 then in Q1. Unfortunately, 3 of them unable to set times, crashing out on this challenging circuit. 2 of them at the same corner at Eau Rouge. And those drivers are Force Manure, Skibbid, I'm Not Good, TS9, and we'll go with Neda again. I think we said Neda.
Yeah.
In 20th, standing in tonight in the Alpine in place of T-Jerk, who unfortunately isn't racing tonight. Absence from him. Tada's still pushing. Actually, he did make the line from push lap. He's not going quick enough, and he's about to run out of fuel.
It says
we're all waiting on him now.
While we wait for Tadas to return, I'm not sure it's been mentioned yet, but it is worth noting for his followers, if they're following him tonight, that Aspinio, sorry, I'll probably pronounce that wrong again, has bagged himself a full-time Hassie.
Yep. Full-time Hassie gets himself in place of whoever Nigel People's teammate was before.
Swilzer.
Swilzer, that's the one. Swilzer, yeah. Well done, TJ. Swilzer drops to reserve. And we'll call him Espinio because he's spun a lot. In a few races we've watched. We'll just go with that. He can't complain there. He has bagged himself, yeah, a full-time seat. And gets himself a good time in Q1 as well. A 1:44.3 from him puts him top 6. He'll be hoping he can get into the top 6 or at least the top 10 in Q2 and continue a run of Q3 appearances then, as we wait for the Alfa Romeo as we wheel back into its garage. There we go. It's about time. There is your classification then for Q1. As we've already mentioned, the 5 drivers that have dropped out of the session. Let's recap the top of the field then. Snedden with a 1:43.0 from him. Great time from the Alfa Romeo driver, as we've come to expect. His almost rival, inconsistent rival I'd say, in Adrian in second place. We know they've got some pace ahead of the rest of the field with a 1:43.2, 2/10 back from the Alfa Romeo there. Nigel Piggle boasting about finding some pace early on in the Discord chat earlier on. 8 tenths back in third place, but still a good time from him, a 43.8. And then Magsy and Hobnob round off the top 5, both in the 144s. And so still a big gap, TJ, at the top. We expected to see breakaway pace from from Adrian and Snedden. Do you think that's what we're going to see for the rest of qualifying, or do you think Nigel Piggle is holding back a bit of pace here? Because I don't expect him to be 8 tenths back from those two.
Yeah, I do think he's holding their pace back here. The little sandbagger. I do expect him to be closer, but then I can't see any other driver getting close to the 3 drivers we've just mentioned.
No, but we have had some surprises in qualifying the past few races, so someone might be looking to try and break the status quo in qualifying then. And it's always a good time to go to our beloved Twitch chat, of course, between sessions, as we often do. It's good to see, TJ. I think you mentioned about the Aspenia, his army, his mass following that he has in FPRL. About 2 or 3 people. But they're here again tonight. It's always wonderful to see them in the chat cheering on their favourite Haas driver now, as we mentioned. I'm not good saying, wow, Snedden and Adrian being so fast in this session, this will be an easy podium for both. He's writing himself off there, I'm not good, but we know he's got good race pace, so I still think there's good points in it for him. Nigel Piggle says, oi, I'm doing no sandbagging, supposedly. Well, perhaps that'll teach you for boasting about your pace earlier on. The likes of Adrian Snedden a bit scared as to what you've got in the locker. And what else is going on then? I think Laura Locker, speaking of lockers, Laura Locker, as you call her, TJ, I don't think she's actually Laura Locker, but she joins us once again in the chat. Nice to see you as always. Hopefully the worst half of the Locker partnership isn't doing your head in screaming in the other room as he invalidates every lap that he tries to set. And of course, David Lawface in the chat was saying, good evening all, good evening David Lawface, and you'll be able to hear the beautiful tones of David Lawface, of course, for Tier 1 tomorrow at 8 PM around Spa then, as we spectate David Lawface conveniently, didn't even realise. And he is going to take us then on to a flying lap. Now, into Q2 TJ, of course, it becomes more about strategy. Tyres then at the moment, Snedden obviously wants us to shout his name out. He's on the intermediates. What a prat. He'll change very quickly off those. But all drivers at the moment, apart from 4, I imagine Snedden will also go for mediums given his pace. On to the medium tyres then. What is the strategy then, TJ? I'm surprised to see the likes of Maxi come out onto the softs early on. I think surely you'd want to start on the mediums given this track.
Yeah, it is a one-stop race, medium to softs or soft to mediums. I am surprised that Magsy doesn't want to start on mediums. Maybe he doesn't feel like he's got the pace and wants a better start. But either strategy does work. But as drivers will know that if you start on mediums, you always get that advantage, especially if there's an early safety car, which, given how Q1's gone, could be a very high possibility if drivers do unfortunately lose a car during a rouge.
Waste opportunity as I think an Aston Martin getting out the way of his teammate very nicely there. Let's see if he'll get out the way of David. Oh no, he's actually in the wall. He's not getting out the way of anyone, and David Lawface is going to join him in the wall. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Different corners, same part of the track though. From the Aston Martin and David Lawface there. And there's a crash between 2 drivers. And now there's a Ferrari going backwards over the circuit as well. Magsy's retired. What is going on here?
I'm not quite sure what I've just witnessed there.
Trying to come on board with the driver. Soprano Legend's now become a lawnmower as well. And Magsy, yeah, he's dropped in the same place that I'm Not Good did earlier on. Diamond was collected by an Aston Martin somehow. There must have been Soprano. who was, as I said, become a lawnmower. Espeni, who goes fastest with a 44.4. Then I saw David Lowface's car backwards across the circuit into the wall. Not sure how that one happened.
Yeah, that was a mental crewmates there. I do think David's got rear wing damage. As you mentioned, he went backwards into the wall and bounced off the wall, so he is in the pits currently. And yeah, I imagine Soprano Legend's got rear wing damage as well for the diamond smacking into the back of him.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea what happened there. I'm sure there'll be some stupid inquiries about that one after the session. Bizarre from, well, yeah, two drivers coming together, the Aston Martin, as we said, and Diamond as well, who's now out of qualifying. So we've already lost two drivers. Magsy lost it all by himself, it seemed. And David Lowface was flying across the track, going backwards into the wall after spinning earlier on. So, not sure he's managed that one. I'm not sure any of the drivers managed that one. As I said, we might get some information later on with Stuart's etc. Soprano Legends managed to continue on after having a Mercedes all up in his junk, and he's coming through Sector 2 now. It doesn't look like he's got any damage. Let's see what it's like in terms of lap time. A little bit slow for lap time, actually. 1:17.9 through the second sector then, so a bit slow from him there. Only 6 drivers setting a representative time. As it stands, Adrian faster than Espenio on the medium tyres. Even though Espenio was on the softs. It's an interesting time from Adrian. Perhaps won't give much to people's argument that he's a bit of a fraud in Tier 3 as we follow Soprano Legend over the line, and it is indeed a 1:47.3. I wonder if he has got a bit of damage on that Aston Martin. That wasn't a time I'd expect to see from him there.
Yeah, it certainly does look that way. We do know Soprano Legends has got a lot of pace. So yes, he'll be disappointed with that, and he'll probably be forced to pull a set of softs on. But if he has got damage, even with softs, it's asking a lot. And we haven't seen David Lowface set a time yet, so we don't know what damage he's got from his trip from hitting the wall as well. I have got information from Magsy, and I quote, "My rear end just said bye-bye."
Yeah, and I think Diamond has just given us a bit of context as well, saying he was on the racing line on his lap, coming through the corner, and Aston Martin was going, in his words, ridiculously slow on the racing line, across the racing line actually. So, as I said, we'll see if any stewards' inquiries come in about that one and see if anything was untoward. It definitely seemed a bit of a strange situation on screen as Valente invalidates left in the corner, which I think is ridiculous to invalidate through just before Pouon. So you run wide, use the curb, and somehow invalidate that one. I'm not too sure how that works. But it's probably a good point, TJ, to talk about the difference then in tyres, of course. 6.5 minutes nearly left to go in this Q2 session. What is the difference, obviously, in terms of delta, in terms of the tyres? We always know it's about half a second, but obviously it's more exaggerated over a longer lap. Do you think that a lot of the drivers, I mean, Nigel Piggles just selected the soft tyre, so do you think that means that a lot of the drivers that are at the front are a bit worried about the tyre delta here?
Yeah, I think it certainly looks that way. I mean, I'm on board with Ned, and who was on a push lap on the mediums. But it's like he can't get temperature into the tyres, or they're not working for him, because he was all over the place. Even just before he started his fast lap, he put his foot to the accelerator and almost dropped it into the wall on the pit lane. So maybe that's what drivers are worried about, that they just take too long to switch on and they haven't got the grip they want from race start, potentially.
Well, Willie Bum on the soft tyres is also invalidated, and the sole remaining Williams driver in 14th at the moment, yet to put a time on the board. 5.5 minutes now left of the session, so we'll need to either get back in and stick a new set of tyres on, or try and go again. It looks like he's taking this lap very gently and might then go again on the same set of tyres. And if there was damage for David Loveface, he has managed to get back out onto track, and he's on a lap now as well. So it seems that Ferrari boys doing their magic. He waited a long time in the pit lane after his incident early on, but is back out there on the medium tyres, interestingly enough, as well, so staying well clear of the soft tyres then. Whereas you can see on the left hand side of the screen, a lot of the drivers in the pit lane at the moment selecting the soft tyres then. So potential that we'll see those drivers come out, which might force the hands of the likes of Tanas and Locker to think about doing the same.
Yeah, what's interesting here is Snedden, our championship leader, hasn't put a lap in. He is going around on the mediums currently, and I expect him to pull good enough time in to get himself through. But if he doesn't, I don't think he's got the time to get back on the track and put another set of tyres on. And obviously that would be a massive upset for the Alfa Romeo team and for Snedden.
Yeah, big time. Big time. And it's worth saying that even if he doesn't now, he is having to take extra life out of those medium tyres by doing an extra lap or two compared to what Adrian has managed. So if they do start on these tyres, there will be a difference come the start of the race. We expect this to be the front row, Adrian and Snedden. It might not be. This race, Snedden has to keep it tidy through here. It's a quick time through sector 2 of 15.4 then. He's managed to set through the second sector, so we'll see what he gets towards the end of the lap. David Loveface, meanwhile, who we were spectating earlier on, has put a time into 9th fastest with a 46.3. That might not be enough depending on the pace of those behind him. 3.5 minutes left now. None of the soft tyre runners coming out as it stands, and with Diamond and Maxi both out, they might not need to. Snedden does get the time in then, a 1:44.2, just shy of Adrian's medium time, and will take part then in Q3.
Yeah, so Hobnob and Valente have come out on another lap or left the pits on the soft tyres. They obviously aren't being very comfortable there. David Lolface, I think he's going to struggle to get back to the pits and come back out on another set, but maybe he'll be happy with a P11 potentially.
Well, I don't want to interrupt you, TJ, but Willy Bum has invalidated at the last corner, so this run will not be valid either because it's invalidated this lap as well. 2.5 minutes left of the session now. I don't think even if he does make it round, he'll want to set a time because there'll be 4 lap-old softs by the time he gets the time in, if he gets the time in. So we could be seeing both Williams 14th and 15th here.
Yeah, that's a disaster for the Williams team there. Given how much you've been on the pace in the past couple of races, they're both constantly in the top 10. To go out in Q2 in the bottom 2 positions, that's disastrous for the Williams team.
14th and 15th as it stands for Williams, P2 in the Constructors, but might not have a single car in the top 10. I think for the first time this season that will be. There have been constant presences in the final part of qualifying, but Willy Bum then looking like he's resigning himself to not getting through. Panic End has just started a flying lap. He's in 11th place. Soprano Legend is still in the pits and will not then get another time in. I wonder if he was held up by repairs to his car after the contact with Diamond early on in the session. So it's Mongo and Panic End at the moment. Valente is also going again on soft tyres, it should be said, too. No one safe at the moment. The time's so close around that 10th place.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure we just mentioned, but Davies just put another fast lap in and put himself P7 by the time there. But even with the guys behind him on the faster tyres, that he's still at risk there. As Willy Bum does come into the pits, he has got no fuel, so it is a Williams P14 and P15.
Shocking day so far for the Williams team. Let's see if they can improve with their race pace, and we already have our bottom 4 in this session, believe it or not, so we'll only lose one more driver, but who that is nobody knows, as the bottom 4 that are still in this session: David Lowface, Hobnob, Mongo, and Panikin still out on track. We expect to see David Lowface into the pits. He's down to P8 now. And it will be interesting as Belente then goes top of the timings to see if that time of a 45.2 is enough to stave off any threat from Hobnob, Mongo, and Panic End.
Yeah, so Panic End's coming on the final corners now, so we'll see what lap he'll set. Makes it nice and clean, puts his foot on the accelerator, DRS open, and P6, so David's down to P9. Hobnob is coming across the line now, knocks David down to P10. And we're on board with Mongo, going through sector 2 now. Going to Pruon, keeps it nice and clean. Continues around the track, gets the next set of corners. Try to avoid the curbs here because it can unsettle the car. Does a fantastic job still. As he comes off sector 2 into sector 3, we'll see his delta. He's a second up on his time. And given that time, as long as he keeps it nice and clean here, Mongo will make it through to Q2. Approaching the final few corners, a little bit of a turn here, but you still keep your foot down to the ground. Very nicely done there from the Red Bull driver. Put your brake on, hit the curb to help turn the car. Keeps it nice and clean again, foot down to the ground, DRS open. And Mongo is through and knocks David Lowface out.
Good effort there from David Lowface. They're getting through into Q3 on the medium tyres, but as you said, TJ, he is out of qualifying then. Tactical pole in 11th place though, and should not be disheartened with that effort then. Just over a 10th behind Tadas in 10th place, but all those drivers going out on the soft tyres really left him at risk there, and it has given us a bit of a mixed up order on the timing screens than what we would normally expect then, with Belente, Hobnob and Mongo occupying the top 3 with those late runs on the soft tyres of course, and they may prove a problem in the race for Adrian and Snedden, who will be starting on the medium. Of course, we'll see where they end up in Q3 very shortly as we wait for Belente to be wheeled into the pits then. There we go. And we'll move on into Q3. There's a real resilience there from David Lowface to not use the soft tyres and to go back out on the mediums despite that early incident in the session. So perhaps that's a sign to what to expect in terms of strategy. There then is your classification for Q2. As we said, Belente, Hobnob and Mongo, the top 3 drivers. Adrian and Snedden both will start on the mediums for the race, providing it's dry, which we obviously expect it will be given the split of strategy in this session. Aspinio makes it through into Q3 as well, in 6th place on the soft tyres. Panic in 2 on soft tyres. Locker, Tadas, Nigel Piggle all on the mediums. And the bottom 5 that we lose from this second part of qualifying: David Lowface, Soprano Legend, Diamond, Willy Bum and Magsy, both Williams. The big shock of the session, of course, the Williams drivers currently second in the constructors, P14 and P15 for the race start.
Yeah, it's a difficult position for him, but it is a long race. Anything can happen, you know. It takes a couple of a driver to maybe drop it at Eau Rouge or through Pouan, and you can gain places up. There is plenty of overtaking spots on there. The DRS zone 1 is very powerful. So yeah, so don't write Williams boys off currently, but it is a bit. It's a big task that they probably didn't want for this track.
Indeed. And of course, it's a good time in qualifying to go to our Twitch chat. Of course, head of the drivers coming out for their opening runs in. And it's going to be a long lap as well, so we might have a few messages to get through here. Louise is here and says, good evening. Hello, Louise. Nice to see you here once again. Unfortunately, your boy Object racing tomorrow, so hopefully you can join us in the stream tomorrow night as well. David Lowface says, it's pole for pole. And that'll go up very shortly then for the viewers to vote for their pole position pick. We've got TS9 saying Snedden, Piggle and Belente top 3 then. No, Adrian. It's an interesting choice right there. We got Laura Lulu says up the P11 at David Lowface. And who else have we got? And Mr. Whippy's back in the chat. Lovely to see Mr. Whippy here once again on another small leave of absence from the league for work. And we hope to see you back soon, Mr. Whippy, and racing on these beautiful Wednesday evenings. And he's cheering on Mongo, of course, his former teammate, before he had to take his leave for work then. So, TJ, it's that part in the session which I'm gonna have to press you. We did top 3 last week, I think it was, in Q3. I'm just gonna push you this week though for a pole position. I don't want a top 3. I don't want them in any order. I just want the driver you think will be fastest in this session.
I mean, it's between 2 drivers for definite. I would like to say 3, but I'm not sure whether Nigel's got the pace to keep up with the 2 I'm thinking about. But my pole sitter is going to be Snedden.
Well, conveniently for you, TJ, it's Snedden that's going to lead us to the first lap in this session then, so we'll get a good view here of just how Snedden, and he's closely followed by Adrian as well, who we think will challenge him for this pole position in this session. The pole for pole is live. It's now called the Who Is on Pole poll, not the pole for pole. But doesn't make a difference. Your options are Adrian, Nigel Piggle, Snedadon, naughty number, Valente, and Mongo Jerry. Lola Lulu says, "What a film!" There. Yeah, Snedadon the first. What a film! What a film! The first Snedadon film. But Snedden is taking us round on this fast lap. He has avoided invalidation at the moment. There is a yellow flag out in sector 2. It's one of the Haas drivers overtaking the other. So we'll cut back to that shortly to see which one invalidated. I think it was Nigel Piggle.
Yeah, that's right.
Letting Espenio past. So it's not going well for Nigel Piggle in this opening stint in Q3. We think the drivers will only get 2 runs in. And Snedden's about to get his first one in. There's a Ferrari backwards as well. It's Valente, I think, that's dropped at the same place as his teammate, but he's carried on round. But it's Snedden then to cross the line and give us our first benchmark in this session. At 43.1 then from Snedden. It'll be closely followed by Adrian at 42.9.
Yeah, that's a fantastic that from Adrian, but he did get a fantastic slipstream from the back of Snedden all down the track through the straights. I don't know if that was enough to give him the 2 temp advantage he's got there, but he's certainly got a fantastic slipstream from the back of that Alfa Romeo.
Well, we mentioned Nigel Piggle invalidated. He's come into the pit lane. His teammate Espenio did cross the line at 45.2 though, not enough to keep up with the drivers at the front. Locker now puts a 44.1 on the board to take 3rd place provisionally. Mongo 4th then. The time's coming thick and fast at the moment. 44.7. His teammate beats him by just under a 10th to go 4th. Fastest Hobnob then putting the Red Bulls 4th and 5th at the moment as it stands. And that is the opening runs and 3 drivers aborting to the pit lane. But let's say who we saw have the issues through this corner right here, where we're observing Tadas negotiating on his outlap. Nigel Piggle, who invalidated, and Panic End as well, who looks like he had some kind of issue as well there.
Yeah, I did think I saw it, but I wasn't too sure. But Nigel's confirmed that he hit the wall. That's why he backed off his lap and let his teammate through. So must have picked a bit of damage up on his front wing potentially to back out that lap.
Yeah, and he came straight into the pit. He let his teammate straight through as well. Good sportsmanship from Nigel Piggle there, but he'll be hoping to get a time at least to challenge the top 3 in this session. Tadas running around then out of sync with the rest of the drivers at the moment. Although a lot of the drivers have stayed out there, Spenio is going to continue. Or it's Nigel Piggle, I think it was. It is Spenio that's continued around.
Yes.
Coming across the line after 2nd run.
Snedden's also second run as well, so I'm not quite sure what the driver's thinking here. He hasn't improved on his lap. So the tyres weren't there for him, but he has mounted fuel now, which is not ideal when I think there was 5 minutes left on the clock before the yellow flags come out.
Yep, 5.5 minutes, as you mentioned, left on the clock. Espenio goes fourth then with the 44.0. We saw him take that second push lap. FPR Locker also slightly improving with a 43.9 then to go third fastest at the moment, in contrast to his teammates' misfortune in this qualifying session. Locker seems to be having a decent session so far, and I think he'd love it even more if he lined up in P3. One of the drivers in the pits now then, Snedden, Locker and Espenio, then we'll all try and come back in, get another set of tyres on and go once again. We're watching Tadas here in the other Alfa Romeo. Let's see how close he can get to his teammate this week. Had struggles basically throughout the entire qualifying so far, sneaking into Q3 by a tenth of a second to David Lowface in Q2. Struggled to set a valid time in Q1. Has he found some pace out of nowhere then in Q3 to get towards the front of the field, out of the bush stop chicane, takes the tightest run to the line and crosses the line, then a 43.8 from him. Third fastest then, just ahead of Locker. He has found a little bit of pace in TJ, and as it stands, Alfa Romeo looking strong once again.
Yeah, he's pulled that lap out of nowhere. As you mentioned, he has struggled throughout qualifying. But to set a lap like that, that's fantastic for the Alfa Romeo team. And obviously benefits their constructor championship as well. As Snedden is rolling back to the pits as we speak about Alfa Romeo. He is almost there, but I can't see what time's left. I imagine there we go, time's back up now, so there's just under 4 minutes left on the clock, so plenty of time for drivers to get in, put new tyres on, fuel up and get back round.
Yeah, coming into pits and 3 minutes 40 left on the clock. It's going to be a long out lap, but they should, if they come out now, get one more timed run in then, as we're seeing Panic End now down the Kemmel Straight, yet to set a time so far. Panic End, and I think it's been a feature of qualifying as well, along with Tadas, but can he find the pace that Tadas has found and challenge the front two rows then in the sole remaining Aston Martin?
Yeah, he's as he navigates sector 2, coming up to P1. Needs to keep it off the curb again. Takes it a little bit wide, but looks like that camera angle there, but still keeps it nice and clean. As he comes around to the next set of corners, once again keeps it off the curb slightly because it does unsettle the car. Keeps it nice and clean, hits the curb on the exit. That's another perfect example of that. Comes around into sector 3. A 1:15.4. That's a pretty decent lap time, that is. As he comes into sector 3, foot down to the floor. A few little corners here that we don't expect. Drivers keep the foot planted down, as he does here. Tackles the corner nicely as he approaches the bus stop chicane. Need to hit the inside curb, which he does to help rotate the car. Foot down to the ground, DRS open, and set a 1:44.2.
Yep, not a bad time there from Panic End. Puts himself P6 at the moment, just behind Espenio then in the Haas. He will be, I imagine. I think he'd be impressed with that time. What we've seen it so far in Q1 and Q2. We knew it was quick as he was going around. Not quite quick enough to challenge the top 5, but quick enough to put that Aston Martin on the third row at the moment then. And it's time to go back to the results for the pole for pole. And it is currently Snedden who has got the vote as it stands, 9-3 on both Adrian and Belente. So many people thinking that Snedden, no pressure, has got the pace to take pole away from Adrian at this point in qualifying. We're watching Belente then, who's about to get his first flying lap in then. 1 minute 20 on the clock. He will get another time in if he needs it. He might be waning on the ERS by the end of it, but he should get another time in should he need it. Crosses the line and goes fourth fastest then, just behind Tadas for time.
Yeah, it's a fantastic lap. We know Belente has got a lot of pace on him. He'll be happy with that time. It does look like he's continuing to push, which is a no-brainer, so he can go faster. But doesn't validate it on the entry to Eau Rouge. So that is Belente's qualifying over.
I mean, why not? Why not throw a commentator's curse out there? We may as well. As Mongo gets a time on the board of 44.7 then, and he's coming around then for another flying lap. It would seem Panic End also invalidating, but should make the line. A lot of action towards the end of the lap at the moment then, so let's see the drivers at the top. Adrian then a 10th up through his first sector. Snedden just about to come through the first sector down the Kemmel Straight. Let's see what he's doing in comparison to his rival for pole position then. As the Haas coming out the final corner, it's Nigel Pickle, I think, starting his flying lap. Indeed it is. And Snedden slower on his time at the moment, so as it stands, Adrian with the upper hand through sector 1.
Yep, as I'm orders Adrian through sector 2. He's keeping it nice and clean. Oh, he spun it! Adrian's dropped it!
Adrian spun it and he's in the tyre barrier as well for good measure. No drivers around him, so he can continue on his way. But he will definitely not be going faster now, so it's Snedden's to lose now. Can he find time in sector 2 and 3 to challenge the AlphaTauri currently on provisional pole? He might not even need it to have gone faster, depending on Snedden's time, but the pressure is all on him now as he's coming through the end of the second sector, and he's 2/10 up as it stands, so it's going to be very close depending on the final sector.
Yeah, just needs to keep it nice and clean here. Perhaps he can neck a bit of slipstream from a Red Bull ahead of him. Am I seeing this right? He's invalidated the lap?
He has invalidated the lap.
I'm not sure where he's...
Oh dear!
I'm not sure where he's picked that one up. I'm not sure.
Oh, Snedden, where did that happen? Crosses the line, it would have been enough for pole by some margin, but absolutely no idea where he picked that invalidation up there. Watching that on board, must have run very slightly right. Hobnob puts the Red Bull into third place. What a time from him, a 43.7 to go third fastest. As I said, those soft tyre runners then might have proved a problematic issue for Snedden and Adrian and the others on the mediums, and Hobnob will start on the softs and has put it into third place with the last of the runs there, but Nigel Piggle takes that away from him with a 43.5 there. Locker's going very slow and won't improve, and Panic End into the pits as well.
Yeah, Snedden's going to be absolutely gutted about that. He must have literally just gone off the track ever so slightly and the game punished him for it. But he kept it so nice and clean, and to be 3.5 temps up, yeah, he'll be absolutely gutted about that.
Yeah, no idea where that invalidation came from for Snedden. The game being a little bit unfair as it is sometimes, I think, personally, on the track limits there. Snedden would have comfortably been on pole by about 2/10, as you said. It's a big shame for him. He does start 2 though, despite that invalidation, and will line up alongside Adrian then, who is on pole for the Tier 3 Belgian Grand Prix then. Nigel Piggle, as I think some predicted, in third place, and still couldn't quite find the pace to challenge the top 2. Hobnob though with a great time to go P4. Unbelievable from him. I think he'll be very impressed to line up on the second row. Tadas in 5th then, keeping touch with the starting position of his teammate, if not the time. Nearly over 6/10 back from Snedden for time, as Belente, Locker, Espenio, Panic End and Mongo round off the bottom 5 in Q3 then. But it is really a mix-up in terms of strategy for the start of this race, DJ. And as I said, Hobnob, can he cause issues for the top 3 here, starting on the soft tyres?
Yeah, I think so. He'll obviously get the better start. Maybe he can make a quick move into turn 1. And if he can't, he can pick a bit of slipstream up to go for Rouge and down the Campbell Straight. And someone's ready up.
Why not? Why not at this point?
Hopefully we can catch the culprit, considering the new rulebook has been released today, and there will be no excuses. Tut tut tut.
Tut tut indeed. On that note, I'm going to get a refreshment and to relieve myself with a number 1. Not a number 2, unfortunately. We haven't got time for that thanks to someone readying up. I'll leave you in the capable hands once again of TJ to give you a formation lap rundown. As you can see, the beautiful pit stop strategy graphic on screen.
Yep, thanks, Bill. So let me just get the tyres up. As the drivers get away, so we'll start P20 as usual. So we have got Nader in P20 starting on the mediums. DS9, P19 starting on softs. I'm not good starting on softs in P18. Gifford 92 starting on the mediums in P17. P16 we got Force Manure. P15 we've got Magsy 88, and P14 we've got Willy Bum 7, both on the medium tyres. P13 we've got Diamond on the softs. P12 we've got Soprano Legend on the softs. Potentially a little bit of heated discussions between the Aston Martin and Mercedes drivers, but hopefully you can keep it nice and clean on the race. And put Waffen and Quali behind him. In P11, in tactical pole, is David Baldface, who starts on the mediums. And our top 10 is Mongo in P10, Panikend in P9, Aspinio in P8, all on soft tyres. P7, we've got FPRL Locker. P6, we've got Valente on the softs. P5, Hobnob on the P5 is Tadas on the mediums. P4 for a fantastic lap in Q3. Hobnob on the softs. Our top 3 for today is P3 we've got Nigel Piggle. P2 we got Snedden. And P1 we've got Adrian, all who start on the mediums.
Thank you for that, TJ. A very long formation lap, of course, around a very long lap, that is Spa. So I've come back with enough time to see Adrian coming to the bus stop chicane as he's led the drivers down round. Not that much of a gap in the pack, as there's been a few complaints recently about some of the gaps with drivers on the formation lap. And TJ, quickly before the race start, we know it's Adrian and alongside Snedden off the line. I think Snedden's going to throw one up the inside of Adrian here. He's got every right to on the inside, obviously, into turn 1.
Yeah, he has got the right to, but I'm not sure whether he'll play it safe. As you mentioned, even if he does finish outside the points today, he will still lead the championship. But I can see Snedden playing it very clever, trying to extend that championship out, and I can imagine him sitting behind Adrian through Eau Rouge, and then try and get it moved on down into the end of the Camel Straight.
Yeah, it's always an interesting start here at Spa-Francorchamps. This Tier 3 race is shortly about to get underway. Then as Neda brings up the back of the pack, we have got we've got the furthest camera angle I think I've ever seen for a race start.
Gone.
As we are going to go to 5 red lights then. And it's lights out and away we go then. And Adrian seems to have got a decent start off the line there. Nigel Piggle gets a good start as well. Snedden a little bit bogged down. It's Nigel Piggle up the inside then of Adrian into turn 1. Forced wide there. Chaos at the back it seems as a Red Bull backwards I think I saw there. And it is Nigel Piggle then who's going to lead us through Eau Rouge from 3rd place. And what a start from him. Gets ahead of Snedden. And Adrian forces Adrian out. And a big crash towards the back of the field, TJ.
Yeah, Soprano Legend spun it at the top of Eau Rouge. Aspinio come to avoid him, smacked into the side of him. And Mongo also dropped it and lost his front wing, but continues round.
Well, what a disappointing start to this race for Aspinio. Soprano Legend and Mongo as well, without a front wing now as well. You'll have to come into the pit. Safety car, of course, deployed with the 2 cars lying on the circuit. But what a race start we had there at the front. Nigel Piggle could not have got that any better. Up to 1st from 3rd. Up the inside of Adrian. He did force him quite wide, but I mean, it is always that case around Spa. Always drivers taking to the runoff. on lap 1. And as we saw from Adrian there, down to 3rd place, and so the Haas driver into the lead. As you can see on the left hand side of your screen now, we can see the real winners and losers from the start of that racing. I'm not good, TJ, we touched on this. We know he's got pace in the race. He's up 9 places on the first lap.
Yeah, he had a fantastic start and avoided all the trouble. Same as Willy Bum as well, up here 6 places as well. Another driver we touched on a great race pace. Obviously our biggest loser currently is Mongo, who's dropped down to P18 from P10. And Hobnob, who's dropped down to P10 from P4, who hasn't got a front wing.
Oh, the good work in qualifying about to become undone then for Hobnob. P4 for the race start. He pits and will drop right to the back of the field along with Tadas and Diamond. Then all 3 of those into the pits as well. They must have picked up some damage in the medley at turn 1. Nigel Piggle now picked up by the safety car then. It'll be interesting to see what tyres everybody goes to. We can see now what tyres drivers currently do have on their car, and Diamond looks like he's the only one. Tadas has joined him on the hard compound tyre. Then it'll be a big ask to get those till the end now, and they might have to do a short soft run at the end to remain on pace with the field then. But both Red Bulls then 16th and 18th, despite their decent qualifying performance. It's been a horrendous race start for them.
Yeah, definitely. As Hobnob picks a time penalty up for his woes as well under a safety car, so it has gone from it has gone really bad for that Red Bull driver. But it is early doors. Hopefully he can calm himself down under a safety car, put his head together, and given the pace he showed him qualifying, he should make easy work of some of his back markers. But yeah, I think that's the issue with the start of Spa. Driver sending it down the insides of turn 1, and then as you go through Eau Rouge, all it takes is, as we saw it, one driver to spin, and there's a chain effect through the grid, which is unfortunate. I have been looking at the Twitch chat as well. A few people have called up Nigel Piggle for his start and called him dirty for pushing Adrian off track.
Yeah, it was an interesting start, but as I mentioned, we see it all the time at turn 1 here. And Nigel Piggle, I think, well entitled to be up the inside given the great start that he did get. He did push Adrian a bit wide, but as I said, you see that all the time around here, so I think that was to be expected.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking down the grid as well, a few drivers there have picked some place up as well. Force Manure, TS9. They picked up some good places as well. Perhaps the benefits from the cars diving in, the new tyres potentially. Ned Air as well, he's up into P13. Although I'm not sure what's just happened there. He's just been overtaken by Mongo.
Mongo now to 13.
Yeah, they've just traded places back. I've got a feeling that Mongo didn't mean to pass him. Now the game won't give him the position back.
Diamond now down to 18th as well, and Hobnob coming into the pit. I do hope this isn't for a retirement. I think he's got the pace to get some points here. Locker into the pit as well, interestingly enough. Behind the safety car, changing the front wing onto the medium tyres there, and I wonder where that damage has come from, considering he didn't pit the first time round.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say it's a collision under a safety car, because we've all seen a time penalty appear, so maybe he's got a bit too close to the wall and hit a wall or something. As David Lawface has dropped it through Eau Rouge.
Oh dear. Oh dear. And yeah, that Ferrari in the wall, smack bang in the middle of Eau Rouge, behind the safety car then. Oh dear. He's done a George Russell. Not quite the same circuit, not quite the same level of corner, but still, all the same conditions for that matter, but behind the safety car then. David Lawface out of the race. Not too sure what happened there. It seems difficult that would happen all by himself. I'm not too sure if that was a game issue or was really a driver error, but we'll see
He
very shortly, I imagine, what happened there.
he is in the Twitch chat, and as we are PG as well, still I will exploit some of this, but he's put what the
Ah,
star plowed
ah,
by Mongo.
ah. So we saw this last season in Tier 2. He probably won't mind me saying Swalzer, who is our new reserve driver, dropped to reserve from the Haas seat. He disconnected mid-race. Yeah, as you can see here, Mongo's car was down in 17th, I think it was. It's now up to 9th. It just decides to overtake drivers behind the safety car. No idea why. Yeah, his AI up to 9th. He has left the session. I don't think that was him. I think we've seen that. I think, TJ, were you in that race in Australia last year? I think
Yes,
you saw it.
yes, I was, where the back markers come ploughing through everyone.
Yeah.
I don't think that is Mongo's fault, as you mentioned. I think it's just really unfortunate.
Well, he definitely weren't in the cart. He's got a drive-through now as well. Yeah, I don't think that was Mongo's doing. I think he's had what we will call the Swilzer glitch. But safety car in this lap anyway. He's back in the session now, Mongo, and he probably can't believe he's up in 9th place, but he's got a drive-through. Nigel Pickle, big swap on the exit then of the bus stop chicane, but looks like he's caught Snedden out, then down into turn 1. Belente all over the back of Adrian to try and worsen his race start then. But Nigel Pickle does lead us away then, with Snedden over a second back already off the safety car restart. As I mentioned though, it is Belente all over the back of Adrian. Let's see if he can get him down the Kemmel straight here. Of course, no DRS until 2 laps after the safety car, but there will be a big bit of tow. I think there's a driver up again. It's panic end.
Yeah, dropped it for Eau Rouge. Luckily, he's off track, so all drivers still make it through nice and safely. Safety car won't come out with foul, or he's off track. But it just shows how deadly Eau Rouge is. You get it wrong, you put a little bit too much steering lock on, and you just spin.
Yep, yellow flag out. No safety car, as you mentioned, though. But yeah, Mongo continues on in 9th place. For some reason, has the drive-through penalty disappeared?
I think it has. Yeah, he hasn't got the penalty on his screen. As Diamond,
Skivid, I think, is out now as well.
Yes, Skivid's out. Safety car, virtual safety car.
So Skivid there has dropped it then, yeah, down into Puon at the top of the hill. Looks like he's run a bit wide into the corner. I wonder if it was Diamond that he had it coming together with. Virtual safety car, of course, as everybody knows. The drivers have to drive to a delta. The game decides whether it wants to be consistent with that delta. You're not supposed to be able to gain any time, but I've known it. Drivers have profited from a virtual safety car, depending on the delta of the driver ahead of you. I think they'll be glad that it's not a full safety car. We're on lap 5 of 22.
Mongo has come into the pit.
Seconds wise to get his here.
But I will just keep on board with him. But so Mongo is changing his tyres. I wonder if he's tried to serve the drive-through penalty, although he is changing his wing here. I'm not quite sure what's happened to his drive-through penalty here.
I think it's just disappeared. I don't know where it's disappeared to. But it's definitely no longer on him, as Locker then round at Eau Rouge as well. Looks like he's managed to keep the front wing from any damage. Hopefully we'll be able to continue on, but now he's cut adrift at the back of the pack in 14th then. While all this is going on at the back, it is still Nigel Pickle leading from Snedden at the moment. Adrian still in P3, unable to make any kind of progress on the top 2 as it stands. Although Belente has fallen off the back of him slightly, and Willy Bum as well has profited from all this, up from 14th then to 5th now for Williams.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm not good as well. He's up into P6, so both drivers here, as we've got another driver around. Neder has dropped it coming out of who won.
Easily done. He's done a Giovinazzi there.
But yeah, so Willie Bum and I'm Not Good have made fantastic plays up in the early stage of this race. Both drivers still decent, haven't made any pit stops yet. Willie Bum probably the advantage on the medium tyres, but under the safety car, I'm Not Good has probably preserved them tyre life as well. And if DRS enabled this lap, I'm Not Good will make the move down to Camel Straight.
DRS ship, as you mentioned, enabled on this lap then, Seddon right behind Nigel Pickle through Eau Rouge. Nigel Pickle taking a bit of a wider line there as well, definitely for a bit of safety, bit of weaving here as well to try and break the toe of Seddon behind, but surely it's inevitable that with the DRS, Seddon will breeze past before they get down to Lake Com, and they do indeed. Seddon ahead then of Nigel Pickle. Adrian now needs to try and get within the DRS of Nigel Pickle if he's unable to keep up with Snedden, and that will see him back into second place. Obviously starting on pole, not had the opening stint he would have wanted to so far, and TJ Mongo definitely hasn't served that drive-through penalty. That's disappeared from his screen.
Yeah,
it disappeared for us.
Yeah,
I know it says it in the director. We saw it, but it's disappeared from us, and I'm assuming him as well.
Yeah, it must have disappeared as we rejoined the game or something, and the game's removed the penalty. I mean, I thought it did look weird because he was driving so as he was given the penalty. But I mean, it's a Codemaster special, obviously, that no one else is aware of, and Mongo's managed to get away with a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, this game is perfect, of course, as we all know. Willie Bum in hot pursuit of I'm Not Good, who made up an awful amount of places with the early race chaos. 6th place at the moment, Willie Bum. Both these drivers coming from the back of the field then to get into 5th and 6th at the moment. Good job by Force Manure as well at the moment. 7th place for him in the Alpine. He's carrying a 5-second time penalty. He has got to stop again, so he will serve that, of course, in his pit stop. In other news, I think Nigel Pickles just tagged onto the DRS of Snedden at the front.
No, I think he missed it. I don't think he was. Yeah, he wasn't a second in the DRS detection. He hasn't got it. As I'm Not Good's lost it in Eau Rouge, but has managed to keep us up the wall. But yeah, Snedden did enough to pull that second gap and keep Nigel away from DRS.
Oh, I'm Not Good. Just as we give him the credit for his great start, down to 9th then after his mishap. He has carried on though in the points. Wondering if he has damage. Seems a bit tentative there through the couple of corners. Don't know if he's just calming the tyres down slightly. But it is Willie Bum now up to 5th place. The Williams drivers putting qualifying behind him as it stands. A net 5th and 6th at this stage of the race.
Yeah, fantastic from the two drivers we've just mentioned. As Mongo picks up a 3-second time penalty just to add to his woes of the race so far. But yeah, it's nice to see Force Manure up in the top 10. I don't think we've seen him in the top 10 yet. I could be wrong there. I've definitely just commentated Kirsten there as he went a bit wide and hit the wall. I'm not sure whether he's got wing damage there or not.
It looks okay visually. We'll see very shortly as he runs a bit wide there, whether he has picked up any damage. As you mentioned, yeah, 6th place at the moment for Force Manure. It's great to see him inside the top 10.
No.
But TJ, you've done a special. And Force Manure into the pits, and let's see if he did have any damage, or whether it is just a tactical change of tyres. It's probably a good talking point I was about to say about the tyres. No? Oh, he's serving his 5-second penalty. And I think they have got a front wing ready for him, yep. So he has got front wing damage, despite it looking okay. I was about to ask TJ, what lap do you think these soft tyres will get to as TS9's out at Eau Rouge now?
Yeah, safety car out. Yeah, I was about to call that. He does look like he's on track. Locking his path as he comes up over the hill here. Yeah, stays nice and wide, avoids the car TS9. Yeah, but for pit strategy, you probably are looking around that. Oh, Willie Bum's picked a drive-through penalty up.
We've done a great
Oh.
job here. We have done an absolute special this race.
Yeah, the comms curse has been very strong tonight.
Jesus Christ, we are awful people. We are awful, awful people. Poor I'm not good and Willy Bum now. As well. Magsy's having an awful race, isn't he, in sixth place?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely awful.
Yeah,
What's he doing there?
What's he doing in sixth? No penalties will come his way, I'm sure. This safety car's probably come at the right time for the likes of Bolento. Only driving the soft tyre at the moment. I'm assuming he'll pull on the hard tyres to go to the end, follow the strategy of Force Manure, who's just pitted to go on to hards till the end of the race then. Interesting to see if the medium tyres runners decide to do the same here, TJ.
Yeah, I think there is no harm in... Oh, Nigel is coming in, so I wonder if he's going to put a set of hards on here. Same as Adrian. So
Snedden is the only driver not to come in here. And I wonder if this is a huge mistake from the Alfa Romeo team. And Snedden himself, of course. All the drivers behind coming in for the hard tyres. I did call that some of the medium tyres would think about running the hards till the end.
I'm not sure what's happened to AlphaTauri, but Adrian's got a set of softs on.
And Adrian's got a set of softs on for some bizarre reason.
I mean, we definitely haven't comms cursed you there, Adrian. So that is your pit crew that's messed up there. But okay, so that means he's committing to a two-stopper because the softs definitely won't go to the end now, I imagine. But yeah,
well, no, unless they're accidentally hards painted with red paint. There's no way that those tyres will get to the end of this race. I can't believe that Snedden didn't come into the pit, so he's carried on round. I don't know if he's looking maybe to do medium to soft. That could probably be the only thing that might save him here.
Yeah, but to pull, he's got to pull a massive gap out now at this point on their medium. So I imagine he's going to want to go to lap 14, 15, and then to get the advantage of them softs. But to pull that gap, he's got to pull now. That's a big ask.
Something's happened in the pit lane.
Oh. Oh.
I'm not too sure what's happened here. There's an Alpine. I think he's had a heart attack at the wheel or something, and he's just turning left into the pit wall. Okay, they've got going. I think. There we go. Well, thankfully for them, they've got going before the safety car comes back round. I don't know if Nedo's got front wing damage from that.
I mean,
I'm not sure what's going on.
he has got front wing damage. He's missing an end plate.
So Nedo's AI there, driving the car into the wall.
I mean, that has got to be clipped for the end of season awards. That is funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
someone check that man driving that car because I don't think he's okay. I think there's something going on.
Willy Bum's decided he wants to come in the pits now. Snedden still hasn't come in. I think he's made a massive mistake here.
I agree with that. I think he's made a huge mistake. I saw him come round. I just cut to his camera just as he was coming past the pits, and he looked like he almost faked going in at the opportunity of luring some of the drivers behind into the pits, and they just went in anyway when they saw him carry on. And yeah, I think he's made a huge mistake in terms of strategy. Huge mistake.
Yeah, I mean, his only saviour here is try diving the pits now and perhaps put a set of tyres on that he thinks he's got the pace on. But he's going to be behind so much traffic, and he won't come behind, obviously, Nigel and Adrian. He'll come back to this queue. Yeah,
I don't see how that's gained Snedden at all. I see the mind games. I see why he's done it. He wanted to, I don't know, try and get the drivers behind to go onto a different strategy to him. He's right up behind the safety car, it should be said. No room there, but yeah, he hasn't stopped. Adrian has, but he's on the softs as well. Nigel Pickle has his on the hards. For me, he's the best placed in terms of strategy at the moment because Nedda's now in the pits again. Locker and Force Manure still haven't caught the back of this pack, so it's very, very likely that we'll have another lap behind the safety car. And each lap behind the safety car is, of course, going to chip away at Snedden's strategy that he's now running.
Yeah, it's as I'm not quite sure what's happening to Ned as AI. He's just come up the pit box
dear.
and he's lost his front end plate again.
Oh dear. This is
I mean, this could potentially keep the safety car out permanently here if we're not careful.
There's very strong magnets in the left-hand side of that car, and somewhere in that pit wall, he's just absolutely drawn to it. Poor Nedda here, whose race is looks like it's going to be undone through no fault of his own. Grinding up the pit wall. No front wing end defense again. He's going to have to come back here. I don't know if he can come back.
Oh, I think he's got to control the car out. Yeah, he's got to control the car.
There we go. He's got no front wing again.
Oh, we shouldn't laugh.
He's out ahead of the safety car. The poor man. He's warming his tires.
Oh, Mongo's come back in the pits now.
Oh my
What is going on? Okay, so Mongo's put a set of softs on.
Strange choice for Mongo. He was on 5 lap old mediums. I don't know if he didn't have any more mediums to do. Yeah. I don't really know what to say at this point. This is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. Do you know what? Last year, I know I think I've spoken about it before, but I had a horrendous glitch here where I come into the pit box to take my first stop, and I ended up running over all the pit crews and then retiring on the pit straight. My car just like teleported to the pit straight, had no front wheels on it, and I just DNF'd. I don't know what it is about Spa pit lanes, but they are very glitchy, as Nedda I think has found out like me today. I'm just wondering if he's going to come in again. He's got no front wing, he almost has to.
He has to, yeah. He's got no choice but not to come in.
He's keeping us very entertained here on the stream anyway.
We shouldn't laugh at his misfortune. But it's so funny seeing his AI just constantly turn into the wall.
Well, he has no front wing. He has to come in now. Yeah. Let's see what happens here. Oh, he's carrying on. Oh, he's staying out.
Oh no, that car is going to feel horrible with no front wing. Oh
dear. You can see it there. The left end fence of that wing missing. His team can't pit because for some reason Nedda doesn't know what to do when you come out from a pit stop. Safety car in this lap, to the relief of Snedden, I think, who's spent enough time behind that safety car. 10 lap old mediums now for him. Tadas, his teammate, just behind 8 lap old hards. I don't know how great they'll be feeling either. Diamond on the same. Nigel Pickle, for me, has played a blinder in terms of strategy. I think Adrian's team got the tyre choice wrong as well. Valente, he might see those mediums to the end, to be honest. Maxi as well on the hard tyres with 1 lap. So there's been some talk about Snedden's safety car restarts this season, TJ, but it's his teammate behind him this time, and I don't know how much you want to back him up.
Yeah, Snedden is doing his normal restarts. He is just getting them tyres warm now, and he won't go to the line. Does he want back his teammate up here? I mean, he could use his teammate as a bit of a blocker if he pulls a bit of a blinder. Snedden still hasn't gone, and he's gone. Snedden's just put his foot down and caught Tyler snapping.
Well, very uncharacteristic of the Snedden restarts, as we know he likes to go right to the line, but catching, but I think Tadas a little bit off guard. that time behind Nigel Piggle, looking to make a move on Diamond already before we get to Eau Rouge into the sauce. What a move there. Coming up now through Eau Rouge, Nigel Piggle into third place, and we'll be looking to chase down the top two. Hobnob with a 3-second time penalty. Willy Bum into the pits and to serve that drive-through penalty. And Snedden then, despite the strategy disadvantage at the moment, still holds the lead.
Yeah, he has got to put his foot to the floor here, try to pull a gap out, but his strategy has been ruined by the safety car and the misfortune with Neda. He has got a lot of work to do if he wants to get back on one of these podium places.
Just a bit further back then, the field of course bunched up after that safety car restart, and a lot of position swaps going on so far. Maxi with a little bit of a loose back end there through Huon, but manages to continue on his way and isn't disadvantaged by that at all. But those hard tyres might just take a little bit longer then, TJ, to warm up.
Yeah, that is something that the drivers know from the game itself. They normally take 2 or 3 laps to really get the temperature and get going. But once they get going, they are a pretty decent tyre. But we don't see drivers running just because at the time you lose on waiting for them to come up to temperature. As Adrian is trying to send it on Nigel and has got the move done through the bus stop chicane.
Well, this might be a little bit of payback for lap 1. We saw into turn 1 off the line. Nigel Biggle pushing Adrian wide. Adrian getting his elbows out through the bus stop. Nigel returning the favour once again through turn 1. We've already seen it in this race, as I said. But Adrian does get the move done. Well, given the tyre advantage, it's not surprising. And Adrian will have to try and build up a huge gap on those soft tyres to make that strategy work now. Nigel looking to come back at Adrian actually into Les Combes, but he can't do it and settles for 4th place.
Yeah, that was, as you said, that was probably payback for turn 1, that was, and Adrian wasn't going to let that opportunity turn down, especially if DRS still disabled. Obviously DRS will be enabled next time the drivers come across the line. Where I imagine Adrian's going to hope he's going to get past Tadas and up the road a little bit. But Valente is all over as we look further back. Valente and Magsi, well, to be honest, there's a nice little battle forming behind Valente where the drivers are all within half a second of each other, so we're going to get a bit of DRS train here. But it is a battle for 5th place.
Very much so. There's Diamond falling off the back of Nigel Piggle outside of that DRS. 10 lap hold hard for him now. I think it'll be a big ask to get those till the end. It is possible. He didn't start on the hard tyres, so he doesn't need to stop again, but they will be absolutely shot by the end of the race. Tadas has dropped 2.2 behind his teammate now, and he's doing a job at holding up Adrian then from making progress on Snedden at the moment. But with DRS down the Kemmel Straight here, I imagine Adrian will breeze past Tadas into Les Combes, but nothing is guaranteed, of course. Tadas looking like he's having a few connection issues in this race so far. Not too bad though, nothing that we've seen before, I should say. Nigel Piggle really struggling on those hard tyres at the moment. He's struggling with DRS management as well, down to 20% already here. And here comes Adrian then, looking to make a move at the end of the Kemmel Straight, and he breezes past Tadas there into P2 and can now set about closing the gap between him and Snedden.
Yeah, while you were commentating on that, Valente got moved on diamonds. Magsi had a sniff at getting moved on diamond, but decided to pull back as they come down the back to the exit of the Kemmel Straight. But this battle's going to continue on for a couple of laps here.
Yeah, as they do. They are getting bunched up behind Diamond, then Magsi, I'm not good. Hobnob now all in this fight. Locker trying to join in as well. We've got 3 drivers currently cut adrift from the pack. Willy Bum, Force Manure, and the unfortunate Neda, who we know has front wing damage. Unfortunately for him, after the pit stop shenanigans, both Alpines and 13th and 14th at the moment, to T-Jerk's horror. But he's not racing today, so he can't really have too much to complain about As Willie Bond picks up a 3-second time penalty, then down in 12th place. Not too sure he'll be bothered by that after picking up a drive through then under the safety car, despite having a great start from this race in P14. He's now down in 12th after that infringement behind the safety car. As Mongo sets the fastest lap then on a set of soft tyres, and there's a yellow flag out at the minute, TJ. It's a force manure.
Yeah, that's right. He's dropped it coming out of the start of sector 3. Pushed his tyres a little bit too much. Not ideal on a new set of softs, but he hasn't got anyone around him, so he was able to rejoin the way dead.
Nigel Pickle getting the move done on Tadas at the end of the Kemmel straight into Lake there. I think he's actually barged Tadas off. He has indeed. Tadas is backwards.
Yeah, I just cut to that. That was very naughty from Nigel, that was. I do think he had the right to try and get the move done, but it was very dirty.
Well, from what I saw, Nigel Pickle was up the inside into Lake He was well in front mid-corner. I don't know if it was just a banging of wheels. Of course, it was Tadas that really should have left the roof with Nigel Pickle, considering it was Nigel Pickle on the inside of the corner. It'll be interesting to see if he does finish on the podium, if we can get some information about that. And TJ, we said earlier that Magsy was doing awful to try and not give him any kind of curse. Well, he's doing even worse now. He's had a spin, and he's now down to 10th place. So, even if we don't try and curse them, they're getting cursed. So let's just not mention names from now on.
I mean, I'm going to mention one name and touch what he doesn't get cursed from it, but I am looking at the gap between the pack, the leader, and he isn't really pulling the gap, Snellen isn't. It's normally 20 seconds for a pit stop here. When he pits, he's going to come out in P11. It's a lot of work for him to do with as I think I've lost my my main contact for the time being. But yeah, that safety car really didn't work for Snellen's plan here. He has got a lot of work to do, and he is trying to maximise his time with them soft tyres. But I do think his chance of being on the podium place is looking very, very slim.
Thanks for that, CJ. I have to apologise because midway through your sentence, I accidentally knocked the cable out of my controller. So you give us all that great analysis, and I accidentally knocked the cable out. So yeah, I had to quickly plug that back in. But we're back. No more technical difficulties, hopefully, on that one. Anyway, back in this race, as you said, yes, Senna's got a lot of work to do if he comes into the pits now, and he does indeed come into the pits then on lap 16 of 22, as Adrian will take us on to lap 17 then. 6 laps to go till the end of this race. Adrian, we know, carrying that 3-second time penalty at the moment, so at this stage, Nigel Pickle is the net race leader. Set it, of course, onto the soft tyres, but as you predicted, TJ, back out at the end of the points paying position, and with a lot of work to do now to try and get back onto the podium, it would seem.
Yeah, definitely. He has come out to his teammates, so I predicted quantity P11, so Tadas has dropped a little bit of time there. But yeah, it's so much work for Sam to do at this point, so I can't see how he gets himself on the podium from this point onwards.
Oh, it's a very close racing game between 4 drivers from 5th to 8th then, I think it is. And it's Diamond, actually it's from 4th to 7th, I should say. Diamond then right up the inside of Hobnob. It looked like he was going to get the move done on the Red Bull driver, and I'm Not Good was going to follow in passing the other Red Bull, but as it stands, I'm Not Good didn't manage to get past Mongo, and Diamond though did, and is up to 4th place then. But Hobnob harrying all over the back of him, and there's still a podium in this for Hobnob if he can clear Diamond and can close up to the top 3 on track at the minute.
It certainly looks that way. He is on the fresher tyres on the medium 7-lap olds. Diamond's on them 14-lap old hards. So it's definitely doable. Hobnob's got the tyres. But I've just noticed he's banged into the back of Diamond a couple of times there. And last thing he wants is pick a bit of wing damage up around here. So hopefully he hasn't got any wing damage. He did look like he had the pace over Diamond, yeah, and he is closing that gap massively. So, but he has got his teammate right behind him on them soft tyres as well.
Yeah, Mongo on flat up on soft tyres. He'll definitely get those to the end of this race. So still a good result in this for Mongo as well. Hobnob, I think, in two minds really in terms of what to do here. We know his teammate behind has got the better strategy at this stage of the race, but he's all over the back of Diamond, as you said. He's banging into the back of him, getting a bit impatient, it would seem. This is going to be a huge DRS train, then down the Kemmel Straight now. I'm not good picking up a penalty through Eau Rouge. Let's see how many cars wide we'll get here then. We're getting terrible camera angles, thank you game. Into the final corner, we change it up though. And it is Hobnob through, Mongo up the inside of Diamond then. Diamond forcing him a little bit wide. It was clean racing there though, avoiding any kind of contact. And Mongo though still can't get any higher than 6th place.
Yeah, it's like he hasn't got the pace, the speed on the straights. Looks like he's falling behind a little bit behind there, but he is getting the time through the corners. But all this battle's doing currently is helping Snedden out, as we have got Horseman round the Eau Rouge with no front wing. But yeah, this battle's helping Snedden out, but in the same instance, it's going to hold Snedden up massively because the guys can't overtake each other.
Yeah, Snedden now 1.5 seconds at the back of Locker at the moment, at the back of this train now. Both McLarens involved in this fight, so there is still for Snedden the good chance of perhaps P4 if he can get ahead of these drivers quickly. So he might still salvage some decent points from this one, but as you mentioned, it's a huge DRS train that no one can seem to overtake in at the moment. Hobnob as well, reeled back in by Diamond as well, so from P4 then all the way down to P10 shortly, there will be a DRS train, and I imagine we might see some contact at some point at the moment. It's strange to see this many cars this close together at this stage of the race.
Yeah, definitely. But I think this is what safety cars caused, and the different tyre strategies going on. I think this is what's caused it, as all my times have just reset. Yeah, but Snedden's got DRS, but he isn't making any impact at all here.
Diamond looks to go up the inside of Hobnob to get back in front of the Red Bull driver, and does then. Up to P5, Nigel Piggle, what's happened to him? He's dropped to 14th for me on the timing screen, but I still think he's right behind Adrian.
Right, so this is what I've just seen. My timing board's just reset, and I wondered why it reset. I think Nigel Piggle's decent.
Nigel Piggle is not P14, he is in 2nd place. Force Manure retires in the pits, so Maxi with another 3-second time penalty. There's a huge fight here going on for 4th place as it stands. 3rd place now on the timing screens, but as we said, we think Nigel Piggle is still in P2 despite what it says on screen at the moment then. So this is the fight for P4, we believe. No idea if it is or not. This race is a very strange one. As it stands, and Nigel Piggle is all over the back of Adrian. I wonder if it's going to reset as they come across the line now. Hopefully, as the 2 Red Bull drivers banging wheels, and Nigel Piggle apparently up to 13th place. He is in 2nd. I don't know what's happened here. This isn't very helpful at all for anyone. Hopefully, it sorts itself out sooner rather than later. Maxi's now involved in this fight as well. Diamond there, P3, P4 still, Mongo P5, Maxi 6 now. 2 Red Bulls, as I mentioned, banging wheels into so what is going on?
Nigel has taken the lead of the race, but he's dropped down to 14th.
Yeah, so Nigel now ahead of Adrian, but has somehow decent a lap down. Which... Wow. Okay. Anyway.
This game is perfect and has no bugs.
Yeah. Well, Valente is still on for P2. As things stand, Snedden is up to P5. A huge fight going on still. He's managed to make it up to 5th place in this... Well, 6th place in this battle. It's going to get very confusing now if this timing screen doesn't sort itself out. 2.5 laps to go till the end of this race then. Mongo currently at P5 as things stand. He's just had that taken away from him by Snedden, who's up to P5. It says P4, bear with us. Diamond is currently P4 at the moment. And getting ahead slightly, 17 lap old hards. Diamond's doing a brilliant job at the moment, TJ, somehow, of keeping ahead of this gang of cars, although I imagine Snedden is going to get past him very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, Snedden's done a fantastic job to clear this DRS train. Obviously, I'm softs are working well, but I do wonder how many drivers just got out the way because it's not their battle.
Yeah. Yeah, they know that Snedden has got the better tyres, and yeah, even down into turn 1 here, Snedden looks like he's going to try and get the move done on Diamond, and does so indeed. Ooh, a bit close for comfort there for Diamond, but comes through unscathed. There is still a huge fight here for P4 to P10, I think. I'm trying to work it out. Piggle.
So Adrian is really struggling. I'm not sure if he's got damage, but Valente's overtaking him on the Campbell Straight now. Maybe the soft tyres are just giving in on him now with being 11 lap old.
Yeah, 11 lap old indeed. Yellow flag out. There has been contact as we cut back to that fight. We knew there would be, and it's Magsy who's come off worse than out of that fight. We knew it was going to happen at some stage. Down to P10 now for Magsy. Yeah, Diamond now picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. Probably a good time to look at the penalties, actually. 2 laps from the end now, if I can find the button. There we go. Diamond 3 seconds, Mongo 6, Hobnob 6, Locker 3, I'm not good 3 as well, Magsy with 3, but cut adrift now from this pack. Surely the McLarens know that all they have to do here is keep up with the Red Bulls, and they will get 6th and 7th. But Diamond, I imagine they want to try and chase after Diamond, who currently stands at P5 at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. They were playing very clever that they are intelligent drivers like that, and all they got to do is keep on the DRS and back of DRS here. I mean, these two are going to battle it to the end, so there could be more contact here as well, which wouldn't be great for the Red Bull team and the constructors.
Selling gets the fastest lap, so looking like he'll get the extra point at the moment in 4th place, as it is Nigel Piggle leads us on to the last lap then. Mongo very sideways out of turn 1 there. This is where the main action is at the moment. This fight for P5 downwards, it has been for the last 4 laps. Brilliant racing by all these drivers. Hobnob though picks up another 3-second time penalty, which is going to put him even further down here as he looks to make a move on his teammate. This isn't going to help Red Bull, as Locker now looking to try and profit from this and get ahead of Mongo then at the end of the Camel Straight. Does do indeed, and I think that is currently a net P6 for Locker as things stand with Hobnob's penalty.
Yes, it is. Adrian's definitely got damage or something. He's losing so much time through the corners. Even if Snedden doesn't manage to get the move done on track, Snedden will finish P3.
He will finish P3. He says he'll finish P3, and he will finish P3, despite Nigel Piggle currently running in 13th. Not too sure how that's happened. I wonder if Ned is going to avoid being lapped here, or whether Nigel Piggle will catch him. The fight for 6th place, 5th place is still going on. I think this is going to be it now, down to the bus stop chicane as the leaders then lead us around the final corner. It has been a tactical masterclass in terms of strategy from Nigel Piggle, and he crosses the line to take P1 for the last team. Apparently 2 laps down. Valente then gets P2, Snedden P3, Adrian P4. His tyres just gave up at the end, and it didn't work out for him on strategy. Diamond coming home in P5. Locker, P6, the two McLarens do get ahead of the Red Bulls as expected then on penalties. As Hobnob finishes P7 despite the penalty. P7? No? Why is it P7? I don't think Hobnob should be P7. He had 9 seconds worth of penalties. Unless... I don't know. Am I missing something?
I'm not quite sure at this point.
Longo on track is behind the McLaren, but he only had 3 seconds worth of... Right. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to say there's going to have to be some calculations done at the end of this.
Yeah,
So I think I'm not going to get a 20-second time penalty. And Tadas a 20-second time penalty. God,
what has just happened? So
right.
I'm not going to be demoted to P9.
I'm not going to get a 20-second time penalty for yellow flags.
I mean, this is going to be a headache for the the race results.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm not good in Tadas. How naughty. Getting yourselves 20 second time penalties at the flag.
So the game has glitched. We are waiting for Nigel Baker to finish.
He's 2 laps down the fraud. Oh no, he's crashing into William. Oh. TJ's lost it. TJ's had enough. Nigel Pickles passed that stationary. You can retire on track if you want, Nigel. In the game, I don't think we'll give you a penalty for that. 25 seconds to go. Somehow there's a Williams sat in P1 with no front wheel on it.
I mean, this race is giving everything. It's giving everything this race has.
Yeah. So,
Oh no!
Force Manure apparently finished 41 seconds off Nigel Piggle. Well done, mate. TS9 apparently still in the race as well.
Yeah, this isn't great. I need the race results.
We do need... Just press pause, TJ. You can get the director anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now quickly.
Yeah. Well, you need the race results, but I'm pretty sure we'll just take the race results from when drivers cross the line. Because I don't know how anyone's going to work whatever this is out. 20-second time penalties for I'm not good in Tadas. Nigel Piggle P13. Whatever else. Mongo finished behind Hobnob, even though he had 6 seconds left for the penalties or something. I don't really know. I have no idea how anyone is going to work out these race results.
This is going to be a nightmare to figure out. This is. It is got to be literally count back from when drivers cross the line.
Yeah, in order, with penalties applied as they cross the line.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to take a while to work out this one, people. But don't be disheartened. Nigel Piggle is the race winner, despite him saying P13. There we go.
Hey,
there we go. Unbelievable. So yeah, don't worry about that one. Piggly boy, you will get your your win at the end there. Here's the podium.
Okay.
With Balente on the top step. It's not Balente on the top step, but let's watch him lift the trophy.
Okay, so some interesting information is we saw the results the wrong way round, and Adrian has managed to clip it and got the finish on of all the drivers for us with Nigel Piggle in first.
Well, thanks for that, Adrian. Don't know how you've managed that, but I'm not even going to run through this order because that is not the order of the drivers in the race. It is so far wrong. I don't think I've seen a race classification more wrong in my life. What I will say is, if you do want to see the final race results, they will be posted to our Twitter page, FP Race. No, it's not. I get it wrong every time. It's Fair Play RL. They will go on our Twitter page. If you are watching and you do want the correct results, this is not the correct results. But it is Nigel Pickle in first, it is Belente in second, and it is Snedden P3. If we can try and get them in for some kind of interview to salvage some professionalism from the stream. This has been probably the worst stream I've done since commentating in this league. This has been horrendous, but we'll try and salvage something from it. And everyone that's still with us through all this, thank you for staying tuned in, of course. It helps us out, keeping up the average viewers throughout the stream. We love having you here throughout the entirety of the race and qualifying, it should be said. So thank you for sticking around and keeping those average viewers up then. Before the end of the stream, we've got Snedden with us in the party. We did have Nigel Pickle, but he's gone again, I think. I've gone into time trial, no one wants to watch that. This is not going well. It was said in P3. So we'll go with the Alfa Romeo. Let's see if we can get Belente. I don't think Belente will join us, TJ, and I don't know if we can get Nigel Pickle back in, who seems to have issues. Quick word on the Twitch chat then. We've got, thank you, you beautiful bunch of viewers, for sticking around. Louise saying robbed. Yep, I feel robbed of my day tomorrow trying to work out these results. Mr. Whippy waving. I don't know if that's to say hello or goodbye, but hello and goodbye once again. Diamond, yep, we've got the results in the Discord. Let's see if we can get Nigel Pickle back in here after his race win. Come on, Nigel, don't let us down now. There we go. As we've got him back in. A lot of viewers, and he's back out as well.
Oh god.
It's going well. Louise says, thank God I won't have to review this race. I can possibly understand what he's talking about there.
No.
No idea. Cruz is saying up the Belente. Yep, great result from him. P2, despite what the game says at the end there. Ali thought that Nigel actually gave damage to Adrian by braking too early into the braking zone. It'd be interesting to see if we can hear from Nigel and if he felt the same way, but it doesn't look like we're going to get Nigel in the party, unfortunately. And yeah, so I think that's it from the recent part of the chat. Thank you, as I said, everyone, for staying tuned. We've got a couple of drivers in the party right now for a post-race interview. Unfortunately, P3 and P2 join us. No P1, unfortunately. Nigel seems like he's having issues to get into the party for his interview. So it's Belente and Snedden that join us then. TJ, unless you've got any disagreements, I think I'll interview P3 if you want, and you can interview P2.
Yep.
So, Snedden, I don't know how chaotic the race seemed from your end, but it definitely seemed chaotic from our end. A couple of safety cars in there as well, amongst all of the lobby kind of issues. But just talk us through, obviously, qualifying. We saw you invalidate on your Q3 run, but it seemed very strange to us where you invalidated. We couldn't work out where it was.
Yeah, I didn't really know either. But yeah, qualifying was really annoying because I sort of bottled it because I've been setting mid. I've been going so much faster than that, and then I sort of just bottled it in invalidating, and I was I think 2 temps up, so yeah, that was annoying.
Yeah, it was the time in the end, despite the invalidation, would have been clear and far away enough to take pole position. Started P2 in the end, kept P2 off the line. We know Adrian dropped down and Nigel Pickle got ahead of you. Was that something you was expecting off the start, or was it in your mind that you were going to try and throw the move at Adrian off the line?
I didn't. Sort of what I expected. I just didn't expect them to be that way round. I was sort of expecting just Adrian to be ahead, and I'll try and get a slipstream up down the straight, and then hopefully overtake him. But yeah, I just thought Piggle dive bombed us out of nowhere, and I had to avoid Adrian. So yeah, it was nearly a troubling incident.
Yeah, no, but did well to keep Peter at the start. Could have been much worse for you. As I mentioned, lots of issues throughout the race. As we got towards the end of the race, of course, after the second safety car, you chose not to come in and change tyres. It was a strange decision that we thought on our end. We kind of saw the little almost gamesmanship that you did, almost trying to fake coming into the pit lane in the hope that others do. Was that something you'd always planned, or was that really the best strategy you thought at the time?
I sort of planned it that if there was a safety car sort of in the range that softs would do, because I know Adrian's fell off by a lot to pit, but then I just thought it was too early to go on the softs, and in my practice I just knew that the softs were miles quicker than the hards, and I think I ended up like only 5 seconds off Biggle, so I think if the safety car wasn't out for those extra lap or 2 lap, then I probably could have maybe got him. But
yeah, we did note that the extended safety car definitely hurt you, but it was a good fight back to come through the field and end up on the podium in the end and picking up the fastest lap in the process. Just quickly, you mentioned about Nigel Pickle diving on the opening lap. Obviously, we know he picked up the win today. Would you expect any kind of penalties to come from that, or do you think that the stewards won't even look at it?
oh, well, I didn't. I mean, I didn't really have a point of view from it. He just, like, Adrian just sort of came out of nowhere. I don't know. I haven't seen Adrian's perspective, but yeah, it was probably just, first lap sort of shenanigans, so I'm not expecting anything. I don't know what happened with him and Tadas though, so yeah, I still need to have a look at that.
Yep, it was close racing, of course, as you mentioned, between Nigel Pickle and your teammate, and Tadas coming off worse than that, so we'll see if the stewards have anything to say after the race about that one. But, in terms of the championship now, we have to discuss it, obviously. I think you extend your championship lead once again here, despite not being racing last week. Surely it's a done deal by now. Do you think the championship is wrapped up, or do you still think it can go wrong for you?
Obviously it's looking quite good now. But sort of the first half of the season is probably better than the second part. There's not probably, but there's quite a few tracks coming up that I'm not exactly pleased with. What's the next one? I think it's the Netherlands, so I'm not looking forward to that one really.
No, but hopefully your second half of the season picks up, of course, and you return to the top step and avoid missing any more races that might jeopardise your championship. But congratulations on your P3 today, Snedden. I'll hand over to TJ now to interview second place for today, Belente.
Yeah, thanks, Bill, and congratulations on your P3, Snedden. So Belente started P6. How did you find your qualifying?
Oh, messy. It was awful. I bottled my Q3 big time. I think I probably could have had third or fourth, but I think I invalidated my final run. And my second, I tried to do another lap, but I ran out of time.
Yeah, it's one of the disadvantages about the Spa, I suppose, that it's such a long track that if you do invalidate it with such short time left, that you do run that risk, as you said. But even so, you finished P2 in the race, which is fantastic. Do you want to talk us through the race? Were you caught up in any of the incidents that we saw? It looked like you pulled the correct strategy on the softs to mediums.
Yeah, it was quite boring really, apart from lap one. Obviously, like Snedden just said, like, carnage. I tried to stay outside, then all of a sudden there were 3 cars coming out with me, so I didn't really know what was going on, and I was off track on the exit of turn 1. And then I've rejoined and going up Eau Rouge. I was side by side with someone, and I tried to ease out of it. I don't know if we touched, or I don't even know who it was, if they spun it, I had no idea. I just saw him sideways in my mirror, and then from then on it was pretty boring, to be honest. I was just like running on my own.
I mean, sometimes the boring races do get you the points, and as we can see from me, you have got P2. You kept it clean as well. I don't think you got penalties. Is that right?
No, yeah, no penalties.
I mean, I think there was only one. I think you might have been the only one that didn't pick the penalty up. So yeah, fantastic on that. Do you think you could have potentially pushed for a P1, or do you think that was a bit too much for yourself?
Probably a bit much. Nigel had good pace on the hards, to be fair. Quite a few of the hard runners did. After the safety car, the final safety car, I think it was Magsy and Diamond, someone, both on hards. And I really struggled to break the 1 second DRS to either of them for like the first 3 or 4 laps. And then they started fighting each other, and I managed to pull away after that. But I think Nigel just had the edge of them a bit too much today.
Yeah. I mean, from the drivers championship point of view, you've obviously got a really good lot of points here. I think you do move up into P7 if I've worked it out right, the drivers championship. So you're doing really good there. I mean, you are probably a little bit too far back to challenge for the championship. But obviously, I'm assuming you're going to try pushing again that top 3.
Yeah, top 5 I was aiming for if I can. I think the top 3, like Snedden, Nigel and Adrian, are probably a bit quicker than me. So if I can get it top 5, I'll be quite happy with that.
I mean, continue getting results like you are now, and yeah, you'll certainly fly up there. It is pretty close between you and up to the top, up to P3. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But congratulations on your P2.
Nice one, cheers.
I'll hand back over to Bill.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, no, congratulations on your P2 as well. And obviously, congratulations to Nigel Piggle on his race win, of course, but unfortunately he couldn't join the party for his interview, and that's all we've got time for tonight. We'll be back once again next week at the same time on Wednesday with Tier 3's race, which is TJ around somewhere. Zandvoort, that's the one. Now on the tip of my tongue there. But that's not all the action from FPRL this week. We have got Tier 1 racing tomorrow at 8 PM around the same circuit, Spa, and Tier 2 I should say, sorry, we just watched Tier 3. Tier 2 racing on Friday at 8 PM around the same track. And we are back again with F2 this Sunday. It's usually every other week, but it's a back-to-back race this week. Silverstone this week for the F2 boys, 8 PM on Sundays, to be sure to tune in to that one. But that's, as I said, all we've got time for.
I will just jump in. There's one extra feature that we are putting in now for co-commentators on the way, which is Driver of the Day.
Oh, we're going to do that on stream, are we? We'll do it on stream then. Go on,
yeah,
TJ.
just so we have got information in case we forget. I mean, obviously the top 3 guys done really well, but my Driver of the Day is probably going to be Diamond. Started P13, finished P5 on track. Had a fantastic solid race and pushed them hard tyres really to the limit.
Yeah, no, good from him, so I can't disagree with that one. P5, good turnaround for him. And the colour commentator's Driver of the Day then. Like I said, that's all we've got time for, so until next week, we'll see you hopefully in the stream later this week.